The turning point, no one talks about. There's a moment in life most parents never prepare for. It's not their child's first day of school. It's not the day they graduate or move into their first apartment. It's something far more subtle and far more unsettling. It's the day you realize the way your child looks at you has changed. For years, you were their anchor, steady, dependable, and always right there to guide them. But suddenly it feels different. Maybe they talk over you. Maybe they roll their eyes at your suggestions. Maybe they don't call as often, or worse, they only call when they need something. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's a slow drip. A little less warmth here, a little more impatience there. But you feel it. And it hurts. Because you remember the nights you stayed awake worrying about them. The birthday cakes you baked. The hundreds of sacrifices you made without ever thinking twice. And part of you wants to shout, "Don't you see everything I've done for you? Don't you realize who I am to you?" But here's the hard truth. You can't argue someone into valuing you. The more you fight for their respect with words, the further away it slips. The good news? You can rebuild it. Not by guilt, not by anger, but by shifting the way you show up in the relationship. Today we're going to talk about 6 powerful shifts. Real, practical changes that can help you regain respect without damaging the relationship you love so much. Let's begin. Shift number 1, stop chasing their approval. One of the quickest ways to lose respect is to try too hard to earn it. It's a trap so many parents fall into, especially later in life. I once met a woman named Caroline. In her 40s and 50s, she was a force of nature, ran her own catering business, traveled across Europe, always surrounded by friends. But as her children got older and started families of their own, she began shrinking her world to fit theirs. She stopped traveling because what if they need me? The heartbreaking part? The more she tried to please them, the less they seemed to appreciate her. The turning point. One day, after being told she couldn't bring her famous roast to a family gathering because it's too much trouble, she realized, I've stopped living my life for me. From that day forward, she made a promise to herself, I will not silence myself for approval. She started saying no when she needed to. She voiced her opinions, gently but firmly, and over time her children began to notice. They didn't always agree with her, but they began listening again. The lesson. Approval is a moving target. If you chase it, you'll exhaust yourself. If you stand in your truth, you'll naturally attract it. Respect starts when you respect yourself first. Shift number 2, lead by example, not by argument. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to explain, to remind them of everything you've done. But here's the problem. You can't talk someone into respecting you. Albert was a retired high school coach. On the field, teenagers had respected him without question. At home, though, his grown kids often dismissed his opinions before he could finish a sentence. One afternoon, while watching an old game recording, he realized something. On the field, he never argued to be respected. He set the tone, he modeled the behavior, he stayed steady, calm, and clear. So he decided to bring that same energy into his home. No more arguing, no more chasing the last word. When someone interrupted, he paused until they stopped. Shift number 3, let go of emotional dependence. As parents, we want to feel loved, needed, and included in our children's lives. But when our emotional well-being depends entirely on their attention, we put the relationship under pressure. Judith had 3 adult children. When they moved away, she found herself waiting by the phone each evening, hoping one would call. One day, a friend invited her to join a local hiking group. She hesitated. What if one of the kids called? But something in her shifted, and she went. That first hike turned into a weekly habit. She met new friends, learned photography, even started volunteering at a wildlife rescue. And here's the surprising part. Her children began calling more often, not because they felt guilty, but because they were curious about her life. Shift number 4, set boundaries and enforce them. If you accept disrespect, you'll get more of it. If you set clear expectations, you teach people how to treat you. One day, during a family dinner, his son made a cutting remark. Charles calmly put down his fork and said, I'm happy to have a conversation, but I won't be spoken to like that. If it happens again, I'll excuse myself. The table went silent. It wasn't anger, it was clarity, and when the remark happened again, he followed through. He stood up, wished them a good evening, and left. It wasn't easy, but it was effective. Within weeks, the tone of family conversations changed. Shift number 5, stop giving where there's no gratitude. Leon had always been the go-to guy in his family. Need money? He'd send it. Need a ride? He'd drop everything. Need advice? He'd be on the phone for hours. The turning point came when he had surgery and needed help himself. Only one child visited, and only once it hit him hard. Shift number 6, build a life that's entirely yours. After her husband passed away, Ruth devoted every ounce of energy to her kids. She called daily, offered constant advice, rearranged her life around theirs. Everything changed when Ruth joined a community choir, began painting and started traveling. Her children began calling her more, not because they felt they had to, but because they wanted to be part of her full, fascinating life. Regaining respect from your children isn't about demanding it. It's about living in a way that makes it impossible not to give it. Here are the 6 shifts again. 1. Stop chasing approval. Your worth is not a negotiation. 2. Lead by example. Show them how respect is done. 3. Let go of emotional dependence. Be whole without them. 4. Set and enforce boundaries. Your dignity matters. 5. Stop giving without gratitude. Generosity should be appreciated. 6. Build a life outside of them. Be someone worth respecting. If this video resonates with you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss empowering elder wisdom content that helps you live with dignity, joy, and purpose.